Attorney Zac Bailey with the Marc Lopez Law Firm to talk a little bit about what to expect if you've been charged with an OVWI in Hamilton County. Most of the time, if you're charged with an OVWI, they'll take you either to the hospital first to get a blood draw or directly to the jail, maybe do a breath test there, and then book you into the jail. So most of the time, an OVWI arrest happens at the time and you go right to jail. Now, soon after that, you're either going to be going through the pretrial release system or given a cash bond, and hopefully you're out by that initial hearing date. In rare instances, the initial hearing's set right away and you might still be in custody going through the pretrial release services before your initial hearing, but that's rare. Usually we have a few days between the arrest and the initial hearing to give us some time to talk to you about it before the initial hearing, figure out what's going on, and prepare you for what's going to happen at that initial hearing. At the initial hearing, the court's going to do a few things. First, they're going to go over the charges you're facing. Second, they're going to go over the possible punishments for each one of those charges. And third, they're going to talk about your license status. Now, it is possible at that initial hearing that the court will move to suspend your license. They can do that for a few reasons. First is if you refuse a chemical test, you can plan on your license being suspended in Hamilton County at that initial hearing. Second, if you fail a chemical test, usually they have breath test results back in time. If the officer took you for a breath test, if those results come back above a 0.08, the state will again ask for your license to be suspended at the initial hearing. If you have a blood draw done and they don't have the results back, the court will likely not suspend your license at that initial hearing. Now, if you did do a breath test and those results are back, oftentimes we can save your license, at least for a little while at that initial hearing. We'll file what's called a request for a stay of license suspension. That gives us 10 days to file for specialized driving privileges before they enter that license suspension. Now, the court will set that hearing on specialized driving privileges. That gives us some time to work with the state leading up to that hearing on specialized driving privileges to try to figure out, can we come to an agreement on specialized driving privileges and keep you driving? Now, if you refuse a chemical test, the court is not likely to grant any kind of specialized driving privileges. So we have to try to work with the prosecutor to try to get that lifted. So the case is going to go through, after the initial hearing and then possibly a hearing for specialized driving privileges, a series of pretrial conferences. That's a check-in date with the court. The first one of those pretrial conferences is usually informal, meaning we attended on your behalf and you won't need to go. Still check in with us to make sure you don't need to appear. We never want anyone to not show up if they're supposed to be there, but we'll be in contact with you as well to confirm that you don't need to be there. After that, there are going to be a few check-in dates with the court in person, and each one of those dates is a chance for us to tell the judge, along with the prosecutor, what's going on with the case, what do we still need, what evidence are we still waiting on, is there a plea offer outstanding, things of that nature. You're never under any obligation to take a plea. We're always going to look at the case in two ways. One, we're going to try to get you the lowest possible offer we can. And two, we're going to prepare as if the case is going to trial. The ultimate decision is up to you, but we want to give you the best options we possibly can. So that includes negotiating a plea. Even if you tell me you're not interested in a plea, that's fine. I have a job to try to get you the lowest offer possible so that you have those options. You're not under any obligation to take a plea. At the end of the day, that decision is yours and yours alone to make, but we'll come to that decision together so you have all the information to make that decision. The lifespan of an OVWI case in Hamilton County starts with the arrest, followed by an initial hearing, then maybe a specialized driving privileges hearing, then a series of pretrial conferences that lead to the ultimate trial, change of plea hearing, or hopefully dismissal. That's how they typically go. Each case is different. Each case is going to have their own special circumstances. So give us a call to talk about yours, 317-632-3642. Remember, always plead the fifth.